Boys, 3, 2, 1. Show me my league starter.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Yo!
Thanks for joining us today as we reveal Path of Exile's next
Where are my
expansion,
cards?
Lake of Calandra, which launches on PC and Mac on August 19th, and on Xbox and PlayStation on August 24th.
The cards that GGG sent me.
Twitch drops are enabled for today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below to link your account and earn your Wrangler wings.
Chris Wilson.
Here's what you can expect from today's live stream. First, we'll debut the trailer for the Lake of Calandra expansion, and then dive into its Challenge League. We'll discuss the further improvements we're making to Path of Exile's endgame in this release. There's a slew of new unique items for us to cover, and also a broad power boost to many different uniques. We've got a selection of new skill and support gems to reveal.
The one card that is going to decide how 319 will be for me, okay? And it's going to be...
Then we'll cover more details about game balance before revealing this league's new supporter packs and what's going to happen in the lead up to launch next week. Our live stream ends with a Q&A session hosted by Ziggy D, where you can ask me your questions in Twitch chat. Then we'll post
that was
the full
actually
patch
the
notes
card
for you
that
to
is
check
signed
out.
by Chris Wilson.
But before we show you the trailer for Lake of Calandra, I wanted to talk to you about
I swear, I'm gonna so find a mirror this league.
Back in 2019, we were ready to announce Path of Exile 2
I know I
and Path
say
of
this
Exile
like
Mobile,
since
and we wanted to
7
do it
weeks
with
in
a
a
bang.
row.
We filled a venue with
But this
thousands
league,
of
it's
Path
going
of
to be
Exile fans
it's
from
going to
around the
happen.
world and ran our first ExileCon convention.
It is going to happen.
It was an amazing experience, full of fans interacting with developers, and everyone who attended can vouch for the amazing energy at the event. Announcing Path of Exile 2 on that stage was one of the highlights of my life. Since then, we've been hard at work on Path of Exile 2. Now that we are getting close to release, we will finally be ready to announce the date that the closed beta starts at ExileCon 2023.
What?
We're holding ExileCon 2023 in Auckland, New Zealand, on the weekend of the 29th and 30th of July 2023. In addition to the beta start date, we'll also be announcing everything there is to know about new game systems, character classes, items, and so on. Attendees will be able to play Path of Exile 2
I guess I need to make like a $10,000 donation goal to
meet
get
our
there.
development team, hang out with their favorite
This is
streamers,
like traveling
and much
around the
more.
globe for me, dude.
The first wave of tickets will go on sale in 2 weeks. We'll make a news post tomorrow with more information so that you have time to determine if you're able to attend before the tickets go on sale. We are so excited to finally talk about what we've been working on, and to let some of you experience the next generation of action RPGs. In the meantime, we have a strong lineup of Path of Exile 1 expansions underway, and today we're proud to unveil Path of Exile Lake of Calandra, which launches next week.
Okay, boys, here we go. Here he comes. What do we get? I want to see new skills. It has been like 9 months since the last time.
Exile. You have wandered far to arrive at the shores of my lake.
But that's
A
Calandra?
hidden realm I have overseen for longer than time itself. These waters harbor deadly secrets.
Okay.
Credits received. Thank you for your monetary support.
Exile
Reassemble
Commodore
it as you
first.
see fit. But the mirror distorts
Thanks for support, man.
reality.
Appreciate it.
Beware the image that
But I just don't get it.
strikes back.
You do like some puzzle tiles? Okay, okay. Yeah, Trickster. What is Trickster? Yo, is this a new Ascendancy class? Trickster.
The
Can't
lake
remember, man.
calls you, Exile. Will you endure? Or will you drown?
Basically, you just... It looks like a little bit like Synthesis. Or you had like your Nexus, you know, where you put your tiles together and this is the map that you ran. Okay, give me more infos.
In the Calandra Challenge League, you will travel to the mirrored lake that granted Calandra her powers of reflection. We want you to experience the story for yourself, so I'll avoid spoiling the details here. When you get to explore the league next week, you'll find out more about Calandra and her motivations.
So Calandra is
Your
a bird.
experience with Calandra so far is probably of her coveted mirror, which duplicates items by reflecting them. The lake itself has the power to reflect entire encounters from elsewhere in Rayclust. As you explore the lake, these reflections emerge from its mirrored surface. Sometimes these reflections are encounters with hordes of monsters, and sometimes you'll encounter extremely powerful foes, reflected from elsewhere in Rayclust.
Okay.
Often, reflections involve League content, such as this encounter with a Harbinger boss. As you play through the League, you'll occasionally encounter a set of columns protruding from the ground, with a mirrored tablet on top. This tablet invites you to construct a custom set of encounters at the Lake of Calandra, offering a series of different reflections to place in whatever layout you wish.
Okay.
Each of these reflections represents an encounter that you must defeat when you next travel to the lake. Once you have assigned a reflection to every location on your mirror tablet, which will take a few areas, you can open a portal to the Lake of Calandra itself.
Yo, it looks so cool.
There you will get to experience these reflections of Rayclust as Calandra manifests each encounter you have chosen. But as you push farther out onto the lake-shrouded waters, you will find each encounter to be more difficult, but more rewarding. This difficulty value counts up by 1 for each location away from the entrance the encounter is.
Oh,
Players
shit.
wanting the best rewards will try to engineer tablets that have long, windy strings of encounters, reaching very high difficulty values by the end. To do this, there are occasional options that can be chosen which allow you to move and swap the entrance, reflections, and water tiles on the tablet. Additionally, as you progress through the league, you'll be able to unlock special abilities that let you manipulate the options you have available on each tablet. If you don't like any of the choices available to you, you can earn the ability to skip picking one entirely. The next ability is even stronger. It lets you re-roll the list of options so that you can immediately pick another one. Finally, you can earn the ability to exile a choice entirely. For the rest of this tablet, that choice will no longer appear. Once you reach maps, you'll be able to itemize your mirrored tablets so that they don't have to be played immediately.
Oh,
They can
nice.
be stored for later or traded with other players.
Nice, nice. I like this.
As you visit the Lake of Calandra to attempt your mirrored tablets, there are many types of rewards you can find. An encounter that is based on a past league implicitly grants the rewards from that league, but with extra juice so that you're not missing out on bonuses you'd have obtained if your Atlas tree applied to the lake.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Other encounters that aren't based on past leagues generally yield a reward chest that rises out of the lake when you complete the encounter. Certain reflections grant you access to a new variation on rare items, exclusive to the Calandra Challenge League. When you complete the encounter, you'll get access to some reflecting mist, which presents you with a difficult choice. It generates a rare ring or amulet with an unusual set of mods. Some are very high, and some are very negative, which hurt your character. The item is then duplicated, with a reflected copy having inverse mods. Negative ones are now positive and vice versa. The amount that all of these mods are scaled up by is based on the difficulty of the encounter you just completed.
Yo,
you may only pick
that's
one of these items to keep.
Imagine the
It'll
possibilities
often
of
be a
some
tough
difficulty
choice, with
10
each
or
item
15
having its own
later on.
strong pros and cons. But sometimes, you'll be offered an item where the negative mods aren't downsides for your build, and the juiced up positive mods are very attractive. There are also some special new jewelry base types that you can rarely receive from this process. One rare and difficult encounter rewards you with an advanced version of this crafting process. It allows you to bring your own ring or amulet, distorting and reflecting it with the same process described before. The mods are scaled up in value and some are randomly negated.
Yo, what the fuck?
The reflected copy has the inverse set of negations. It will certainly
It's a
be
plus
tempting
2
to
of
gamble
fire
with some of
skill
your
gems.
best jewelry to try to double the values that really
Like
matter
a
for your
sixth-
build and negate the ones you don't care
Holy
about.
shit.
If you're very
Damn.
lucky, you may find a special League-exclusive unique ring at the lake. Calandra's touch mirrors the effect of your other ring.
What?
The Calandra Challenge League has something for everyone.
So you
It's
get
an
one
out-of-area
fucking
combat
GG
league where you
ring,
build your
and
own
then you
sequences
just
of encounters.
have it
It lets you
twice.
fully dictate your desired level of risk and reward and fully customize what content you play. It features a powerful crafting system, valuable rewards, and offers a glimpse into the lore of one of Path of Exile's most iconic characters. We can't wait to play it with you next week.
Yo, that's insane, actually. Imagine getting like a +2 power
In every
charge
expansion
ring
leading up to Path of
with
Exile
like
2's
200
release,
life and
we'll
like
be improving Path of
50 crit
Exile's
multi,
endgame
and then
with
you
new content
wear
to
the
explore and new
Kalandra
ways
ring
to
and you have it
customize your
twice.
endgame experience. In the Lake of Calandra expansion,
insane.
we're introducing Atlas Memories. They aren't a league feature, they're part of the core game, affecting standard and persisting once the Calandra League has ended. In maps, you'll very rarely find a memory item, which represents a set of memories that an NPC has about their past. Something special happened to them while exploring maps, and you're able to experience those events for yourself. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. In this Atlas memory, Kirik tells you about the time that he stumbled across a staging ground for a Harbinger invasion of Rayclust.
What?
Each successive map you play in the sequence has more and more Harbinger portals and invaders that you must deal with. This is a memory of Nico's, where he entered a sequence of maps that were entirely consumed by permanent breaches, like a Breachlord's domain. He survived to talk about it, but will you?
That is so cool, man. And it
Right-click a
encourages
memory
you
and
to
apply
play
it to a
different
completed
maps.
map on your
and not like the
Atlas.
same map
It'll
all the
mark
time.
out a series of adjacent maps that the Atlas memory will span. When you next talk to the relevant NPC in your hideout, they'll tell you about their recollections and will allow you to start exploring the memory. Each map in the sequence is provided for free by the NPC, and you'll be able to roll it like usual before running it.
Yo, so you don't even have to have the map.
Because these maps are memories of the NPC, they are not affected by your Atlas tree. However, the content is generally as difficult and rewarding as a fully specialized Atlas tree would cause it to be.
Oh, that's cool. It makes it good because then you have like a memory and you don't
Each
have to like,
successive
oh
map in
shit,
the
it's a breach
sequence gets
memory, I
harder
need to
and
like
more rewarding as the
skim all the
memories
breach
intensify.
stuff, you know?
While memories are tradable, they're also very rare and valuable, so you'll probably want to complete them yourself if you can.
You know what I mean? Because it sucks if you have like
For
a
players who
big
love lore, Atlas Memories help
memory
expand on
and
the
then-
backstory of key NPCs. For players wanting to try out different league mechanics at quite high levels of juice that they haven't specialized their Atlas for, Memories let them do this without a bunch of respecking. And for everyone else, Atlas Memories are a great way to earn some valuable items, if you're strong enough to complete them.
Yo, that's so cool.
The Lake of Calandra
Oh,
expansion
no.
also contains a new unique map that I'm quite excited about.
There
The
he
Trial
goes.
Master is back.
The Trial
This
Master.
boss from Ultimatum, and more importantly, the unique items he drops, have been sorely missed and will be making a return as the Tower of Ordeal's unique map in Lake of Calandra. This map can be created by completing difficult endgame Val content. We have not forgotten about the rest of Ultimatum and have a specific plan for how it will return in the future.
Wasn't that like this fucking broken gloves?
Whenever we're improving Path of Exile's
Eight
endgame,
Forge
we
or
take
whatever
every
they're called.
opportunity we can to add new
think there's
variations
other
of
ones as
rewards
well.
that you can find. We don't want to say too much about how these are acquired, but in this expansion, it's possible to very rarely find special foil versions of any pinnacle boss unique item. These
You
are the
bring
same
back the
stats as
keys?
regular ones, but are certain to be highly prized by collectors or wealthy players wanting to show off.
Good that I'm not a wealthy collector, man.
The Lake of Calandra expansion contains 14
Fuck
new
me,
unique
dude.
items. In
Everything
addition
needs
the
to be
Calandra's
100%
touch ring
perfect
that
in
is
foil.
exclusive to the Calandra Challenge League, we have introduced a new endgame pinnacle
Aw,
boss
shit,
reward,
let's
a
go.
supporter unique,
Let's
the Tower of
fucking go.
Ordeal's unique map,
Okay,
6
what do we
new
get?
Grand Spectrum jewels, and even some leveling uniques. The first we're showing you today is Soul Ascension, a pair of gloves designed by Zizaran. They drop from the Uber Elder. Soul Eater is a very powerful buff, but it is usually hard to obtain in boss fights. This unique grants you the ability to gain stacks of Soul Eater when you hit a unique enemy, but also makes you lose those stacks if you aren't near one. Ghost Wraith is a leveling unique which allows you to play as an almost pure energy shield character during early parts of the campaign.
That
We'll
is
reveal the
sick.
other new unique items in this expansion over the next week.
The OP Tabula.
Path of Exile has a lot of unique items in its core drop pool, over 700 in fact. We feel that there are two big problems with unique items at the moment.
Yes.
The first is that you find too many,
Yes.
and the second is that they are generally pretty useless when you do.
Yes.
Sure, there are some powerful endgame or build-enabling uniques that feel amazing to find, but the majority of unique items found throughout the game are rarely actually useful to you.
True.
In the Lake of Calandra expansion, we have made a lot of changes here. We have reduced the overall drop rate of uniques throughout the game and have rebalanced and overhauled over 100 existing unique items, with an emphasis on uniques in the core drop pool, including leveling uniques and some endgame uniques. You're going to find unique items less frequently now, but when you do, they're going to be a lot more punchy. Nyx's Lantern has been completely changed from the ground up. Previously, it was trying to allow you to play a hybrid attacker and spellcaster, but it didn't really work very well. With the new design, it's a lot more elegant and delivers on this goal by simply granting high damage and the Battle Mage effect, so that your weapon damage is added to your spells. Thousand Ribbons is an example of an item where we merely needed to tweak values on the existing mods to make it a lot better. We want mod value rolls to matter more, and this item now showcases that well. If you find a high rolled one early on, you're probably not replacing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty nice actually.
Malachai's Simula was trying to deliver the Blood Mage fantasy by allowing you to spend life to cast your spells. This was meant to be special because the Blood Magic Keystone was far away from the Witch starting location on the skill tree. Unfortunately, this item wasn't really powerful enough to justify its use. It has now been overhauled, and alongside Blood Magic, it grants a powerful multiplicative damage boost.
I don't think that's still good. Like, you use the helmet slot for that.
With over 100 uniques rebalanced in this way, your play experience is now punctuated by quite large bursts of power when you find one. We'll continue to examine the power level and rarity of more unique items in subsequent expansions. The Lake of Calandra expansion includes 3 new skill gems.
Okay, here we go.
And
What
1
is
new
my league
support
starter
gem.
gonna be?
Alchemist's Mark is a new mark skill. Igniting or poisoning the marked target creates burning or caustic ground underneath them, based on the damage of the strongest ignite or poison on the enemy. The damage of the ground effects also scales with Curse and Mark effect, providing a non-standard way to scale your build's damage. Hitting the marked target also refills some of your flask charges. This new skill opens up an extra source of damage for ignite or poison-focused characters, especially for ignite builds that want an alternative to Flame Surge, or poison builds that cause fewer, higher damage poisons.
That's good for
This
single
high-level
target,
build uses
but for
Flame Blast,
clearing,
with
I don't think
100%
so.
of the damage converted to Chaos, to inflict huge poisons on enemies. When Alchemist's Mark is cast on an enemy first, that enemy drops caustic ground when it's poisoned, scaled by those big Flame Blast poison hits, melting everything into a puddle.
I can see the usage, but
Galvanic Field is a new shock-themed spell. When used, you gain a buff, granting a small bonus chance to shock. When you next shock an enemy, the buff is consumed and the enemy becomes energized, repeatedly zapping themselves and nearby targets, a lot like Ball Lightning.
okay.
If the energized enemy dies, then the energy sits at their location and continues to zap things. Galvanic Field's area of effect and zap damage scale with the strength of the shock on the target.
They just go
While
purely
Galvanic
shock
Field is great for any
effectiveness.
build that shocks, you can even fully build around it, and use a skill with increased shock effectiveness like Arc to shock enemies and kill them with a ball of death. Lightning Conduit is another new shock-themed spell. A wave propagates out from the target location, causing lightning bolts to strike all shocked enemies in a large area. The damage is scaled by the strength of the shock on each enemy. Lightning Conduit cannot itself shock and won't hit non-shocked enemies at all, so the challenge with this skill is to find a way to consistently apply powerful shocks to your targets to make the most of Lightning Conduit's high damage potential and area of effect. This high-level build uses Wave of Conviction to shock enemies, before casting Lightning Conduit until they're obliterated. For longer fights, it can employ Galvanic Field to create a constant source of lightning damage.
It's like a little bit like Essence Drain Contagion mixed with Herald of Thunder.
Last but not least, Overcharge Support is a new support gem that causes supported skills to deal less damage, but makes them inflict much stronger shocks and grants them a higher chance to shock. Overcharge lets many different lightning skills create powerful shocks. Use this to take advantage of Shock's large damage multiplier, or to activate Lightning Conduit and Galvanic Field. As Path of Exile expands, we often
I
revisit
don't know.
previous
Usually
leagues,
when I see what I
reworking
want
them
to
so they
play,
stay
I'm
relevant
instantly,
and engaging.
this is what we're gonna play.
In
That
Lake of
looks
Calandra,
insane, but
we are
none
targeting
of
3
those
such
actually
leagues: Arch
flash me
Nemesis,
at all.
Beyond, and Harvest. The larger context here is that we've been re-examining what role rare and magic monsters have in Path of Exile. The introduction of Arch Nemesis modifiers as the monster mod pool prompted quite a lot of discussion about how often you should encounter rare and magic monsters, how difficult they should be to kill, and how rewarding their death should be. Previously, League content made fights hard by spawning a lot of rare monsters. A whole lot. in some cases 6 to 8 times the normal rate of rare monsters.
Imagine playing
Now
with
that we have
screen
better
shake.
mods available to make fights against rare monsters individually challenging, we have gone through the whole game and normalized the rate that rare monsters are spawned at. Some leagues had quite large reductions in spawn rate. You won't encounter situations with dozens of rare monsters on screen at once anymore. Alongside this reduction of how many rare monsters you'll face, we have improved their rewards and made sure that they scale with both difficulty of the encounter and any item rarity or quantity bonuses that you have.
Okay.
During the campaign, you'll only encounter 1 and 2 mod rare monsters. The 2 mod encounters are a bit harder and have better drops.
So,
In maps, you'll stop encountering 1 mod rare monsters entirely, and will mostly encounter 2 and 3 mod rare
Headhunter?
monsters. It'll also be possible to encounter 4 mod rare monsters again. Not only are the innate item drop bonuses scaled up significantly on monsters with many mods, but we have made these challenging encounters rewarding in another way too.
I mean, not rip Headhunter, but
About
less
a third
rare
of the more
packs, less
powerful
buffs.
Arch-Nemesis modifiers now use a special reward conversion system. For example, if you defeat a monster with a Corruptor mod, all of its drops become corrupted.
And there goes your Mage Blood.
The Solaris Touched mod converts all of its item drops to maps.
That is cool.
The Katava Touched mod will cause the rarity of its drops to be upgraded by 1 tier. So
Oh.
magic becomes rare, rare becomes unique, and so on.
That's cool.
If you're lucky, you can find these conversion modifiers on both the 3rd and 4th mod of a rare monster. This causes them to stack together. So if you kill a 4 mod rare monster with both the Entangler and Katava Touched mods on it, its heavily juiced drops will also be converted to jewels with their rarity upgraded by a tier. Due to the high amount of inherent item rarity that 4 mod rare monsters have, this may result in several unique jewels dropping. This conversion system is fully compatible with your item rarity and quantity bonuses, as well as the drop bonuses from all other Arch-Nemesis mods. Going forward, we want to make sure that a lot more item reward mechanics scale with your character item bonuses. Get your Magic Find characters ready. As a result of this system, when you do encounter a rare monster with many Arch-Nemesis mods, you are well rewarded for the difficult fight.
Yo, what? Big loot?
We have also been listening to feedback about the Arch-Nemesis mods that can spawn on magic monsters. Too many of them had external visual clarity issues like on-death effects. We have toned these down on magic monsters so that more of them are stat-based bonuses that aren't so spammy. Encounters that spawn a series of magic monsters now make sure to preserve the same Arch-Nemesis modifiers between the monsters rather than rolling a different one for each monster. This will further help keep the game state understandable in hectic situations.
I like the changes.
Beyond was introduced in August 2014,
Okay.
initially as a hardcore-only challenge league. It's 8 years old now and certainly has several issues.
Yo, I'm also 8 years old.
Firstly,
Oh,
the
man.
art. Have you ever really taken a close look at a Beyond demon? It is literally a bandit from Act 2, dunked in red paint. The second issue is its balance. The number of magic and rare monsters spawned is so much higher than the rest of the game, and whatever problems that resulted in before are magnified now that rare monsters are meant to be more difficult. Beyond also spawns way too many unique bosses, which causes its own set of issues. In Lake of Calandra, we have given Beyond much more than a fresh coat of paint. The Scourge have taken over the realm of the Beyond demons.
Oh,
The old
nice.
bandit Beyond demons are gone. Summoning monsters from Beyond will now summon Scourge monsters and bosses. We have completely rebalanced the rate that Beyond monsters and bosses spawn at, so that it's
Yo,
appropriate
that's
for modern
actually
Path of
really
Exile.
cool.
The new Beyond monsters can now occasionally drop the Scourge League's tainted currency items that allow you to modify corrupted items.
Oh shit! Oh no, here we go again. Free 6 links for
We've
everybody.
also completely revamped how harvest
Okay,
crafting
this is gonna be
works.
interesting, man.
Rather than being presented with a selection of crafting options that must be used immediately, you now receive itemized tradable life force of the appropriate color. This life force can be used later, in your own time, at the hoarder crafting bench in your hideout. Its crafting options are now priced in terms of this itemized life force currency. Tier 4 bosses are now encountered much more frequently and can drop a key to fight a Shabi. She yields special life force which can be used for a specific set of crafts. We have rebalanced all harvest crafts for the new system and have removed a bunch of filler crafts and some ones with deterministic outcomes that were incredibly RNG gated before.
So you have all crafts at all times and all
Some
you need
crafts
is
that
life
provided
force?
access to exclusive content, like the special offerings to the goddess, have been removed because these items can now be found in more appropriate locations elsewhere in the game. The result of these changes is that when you complete a harvest, you aren't presented with 30 crafts, which must either be used immediately or unsafely traded to some player you found on a community Discord server. It also means that every bit of life force you receive is going towards a craft that you actually want to use on one of your items, when you're ready to use it. Your interaction with the Sacred Grove is now far simpler as well. Just enter, pick your plots, defeat the monsters, and get on with your mapping. Like with Arch Nemesis and beyond, we have also addressed the monster composition of Harvest's fights, so that it doesn't contain too many rare monster mods, and so that it is of appropriate difficulty
I'm
for
not
its
sure how
rewards.
this like works. How do you get the crafts?
In addition,
then?
the rewards for Harvest now scale
Or
with
how long
map
do they
quantity
stay,
and pack size,
and so on.
incentivizing you to juice your maps. Previously, the crafts you received were not scaled up at all if you played a harder map. Last week, we
But
posted
still,
this
that's
expansion's
sick.
character balance manifesto,
Finally.
which detailed the many changes we're making in Lake of Calandra. There are plenty more changes, which we will include in the full patch notes that will be posted after this livestream. But on this stream, I'd like to talk about a few specific areas: minion itemization, exalted and divine orbs, and the trickster ascendancy class.
This trickster.
Historically, minion builds have not been particularly reliant on the stats of their items. Most of the power of their minions came from their skill and support gems. This led to a few problems. Firstly, it gave them a bit of a free ride compared to most other character builds. And secondly, it meant that it was hard for minion players to actually specialize their character to be really, really good. We want to solve both of these problems in this expansion. Path of Exile is a game about items, and that means that you will now be strongly rewarded for finding items that make your minions better. It also means that, like with other builds, if you find good items, you'll be far more damaging and survivable than before. We described a variety of minion changes in last week's Character Balance Manifesto. Today I want to show you the new base item types we have added to help your minion itemization. We've added a new ring base type, the Bone Ring. This ring has implicit
it's
minion
Einhard.
elemental resistances and can roll minion related
Rip.
modifiers. We've added level 20 and 50 versions of the Convoking Wand, called the Calling Wand and Covening Wand respectively. Like the Convoking Wand, these new base types can roll minion-related modifiers. Some new minion-related mods have been added to the pool available to these wands, and some existing mods have been adjusted or made more common. We have repurposed the bone-themed spirit shields so that they have minion damage implicit mods rather than spell damage, and can also roll minion-related mods.
That's fair enough, I guess.
Alongside the stable of existing unique items, there's now quite a lot more base type support for minion characters, and good mods on those base types can stack up to some pretty large bonuses for your minions. I also wanted to discuss two of the rarest currency items in Path of Exile:
Here he comes.
Divine Orbs and Exalted Orbs. These actually have the same drop rate, but Exalted Orbs are worth so much more in trade because there's no easy vendor recipe for them, and because they're consumed when you craft certain meta mods onto items. Out of these two currency items, we would actually prefer the Divine Orb effect to be rarer, so that unique items with good rolls matter more, and so that players can exalt craft their items more frequently. We are making two changes that will impact this. Firstly, we are changing the cost of crafting meta mods so that they cost Divine Orbs rather than Exalted Orbs.
Okay.
Secondly, we are changing the 6-link vendor recipe to grant 20 Orbs of Fusing rather than a Divine Orb.
Okay.
This change will result in Exalted Orbs being far more available for crafting, and Divine Orbs less available for re-rolling mods on items. It'll certainly be interesting to see what
I
the
mean,
de
that's
facto
fair
trade
enough. I was
currency
just
becomes
scared that
next
they're
week.
like, yo, we're buffing the drop chance of Exalted Orbs. That would mean that Exalted Orbs would be like 20 chaos.
Next, I'd like to talk
Or
about
less.
the Trickster Ascendancy class. We haven't been happy with the state of this Ascendancy class recently. While it used to be
so
quite
Trickster
powerful,
was an
we moved its
Ascendancy
defining
class.
feature, Ghost
Oh boy,
Dance,
you never,
onto the main
like,
passive skill
there's always
tree.
something to
Since
learn
then,
in
it has had a
PvP.
confused identity and hasn't met the power level of the other Ascendancy classes.
Interesting.
In this expansion, we have reworked the Trickster, with a focus on establishing thematically appropriate defenses and ways to manipulate speed. One step ahead allows the Trickster to manipulate time in an interesting way. Enemies are slower than normal and cannot have their action speed raised above this value, such as through an acceleration shrine. Conversely, The Trickster is faster by default, and cannot have action speed lowered below this value,
That's cool.
effectively making them immune to effects that lower action speeds such as freeze, chill, or temporal chains. Spellbreaker ties together spell suppression and energy shield in a powerful way. Spellbreaker grants some spell suppression chance, which is an effect that reduces damage taken from spells. The skill also starts your energy shield recharge half the time you suppress spells. Since Trickster characters tend to have a high evasion rating, you will be evading some hits and recharging on others, meaning that your energy shield recharge stays active most of the time. Spellbreaker also further improves defenses by reducing the damage you take from suppressed spells while on full energy shield. For those that want a different way to recover energy shield, the powerful Soul Drinker notable passive is no longer exclusive to forbidden jewels from the Uber-Searing Exarch and Eater of Worlds.
Okay.
Any Trickster can now allocate this skill.
So you have Overleech as well.
Polymath provides more bonus damage, life, mana, and energy shield on kill for each different type of mastery you have allocated. It reinforces the idea of a Trickster being a jack of all trades, and will lead to interesting decisions when planning your passive tree, trying to fit in as many different types of masteries as possible. Overall, the new Trickster is intended to be the Shadow's answer to the Champion, but faster. He should be an exciting option for players who want to get
Looks
a lot
like
of
he's
evasion,
gonna be
energy
very,
shield,
very
and recovery
tanky.
out of their Ascendancy class while still being able to melt enemies. Alongside today's livestream, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Knight and Rogue packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, plus several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available during the Calandra League and will leave the store forever in 3 months. Every microtransaction you are about to see is entirely cosmetic and does not affect your character's progression or power. The Knight Pack series contains 6 exclusive microtransactions, including the full Knightmaster armor set. The Aetheric Mana Flask releases a burst of mana upon activation, then draws in energy from the environment as your mana refills.
I really like this.
The Hoarder's Stash is a stash skin that can be used in your hideout. As you place items in the stash, they hover above it until you're finished, before being sucked
Yo,
into
that's
storage.
so cool, actually.
This is the Knightmaster armor set. While wearing its helmet, your actions are periodically duplicated by an ethereal copy of yourself. The Blood-Scouring Cloak absorbs blood as you slay monsters. It tracks your kill streak and cleans itself off when the slaughter ends. The Ring of the Victor causes a podium to rise up underneath you when you are standing still, elevating you above other players.
Wow, look at me.
Seek refuge here.
The Warlord's Lieutenant Portal summons a warrior spirit who will greet you, cheer you on, and commend you on your actions.
Onward to battle.
Yeah, GG's always stepping up their MTX
The
thing.
Rogue Pack series has 6 exclusive microtransactions, including the Rogue Stalker armor set. The Beast of Burden Pit visually carries your items for you, becoming more laden with bags and packs the more full your inventory gets.
Oh, I thought it's... Oh no! Debated!
The Collector Serpent Shield covers the treasure
Debated!
you
I
find.
thought it's gonna be a
Whenever you
pickup
pick
bet!
up an item, the serpent darts out to
no.
grab it.
Debated! Oh shit.
This is the Rogue Stalker armor set. While wearing its
I
gloves,
actually
critical
debated.
strikes cause blades to appear
Well
and
played.
slice at your enemies.
Well played.
The Corpse Bloom footprints cause exotic plant growth in your wake. The plants especially love corpses and will seek them out and grow in larger patches around them.
That's funny.
On the other hand, the Undertaker's Amulet inters corpses for you, burying them and marking their location with gravestones.
What the fuck is this?
The Unstable Explosives back attachment is not for the faint of heart. As your life gets lower and lower, it gets closer and closer to exploding.
Yo! Okay, it's
and
not
when you
hardcore
die,
viable.
your party members will certainly feel it. As I mentioned before, these packs are exclusive to the
shit.
Calandra League, and will leave the store in 3 months. They're available right now at
Hey, that's a cast on that
pathofexile.com/purchase,
thing
and they
here,
directly
man.
fund the
Oh,
ongoing
boy.
development of Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 expansions like Lake of Calandra. In addition, the supporter packs introduced with a Sentinel expansion are leaving the store forever in 1
Rip.
week. Now's your last chance to purchase them, and we greatly appreciate your support.
Oh,
Speaking of things leaving the store, the Kyrix Vault Pass for Sentinel is only available for the next few days also, and will leave the store forever when the league ends. There's no penalty for purchasing the pass late in the league after you've wrapped up your map completion, so if you're pleased with where you got to in maps and Sentinel and want to lock in your unique skins, it's not too late to buy your pass.
Yeah, spend the monies.
Next up, we've got the Q&A with Ziggy D. Once that ends, we'll post the full patch notes for Lake of Calandra. Over the next week, our community team will post teasers for new and revamped unique items, upcoming quality of life improvements, and an announcement for the League launch race event. On launch weekend, we'll be running another set of Twitch drops, and expect to release the new Mystery Box and Kyrix Vault Pass in the days after launch. Thanks for joining us and checking out today's reveals. We can't wait to see you in Rayclast on August 19th. We'll begin the Q&A in a few moments, so please get your questions ready in chat.
All right, and I would say we're gonna pause this over here. Yeah, quick review on the stuff here. So, actually, it looks ridiculous. I think the power spike is going to be quite hefty with those Calandra. Remember back in the start when we watched it, with the rings that are like sometimes even doubling their stats. Like we saw rings with like 180 life and negative 70 lightning res and stuff. And there's always like the pro and the cons. And just this amulet with a +1 fire that turns into +2 or -2, right? I think like if that happens the same way as like power charges and stuff like that, that's actually gonna be ridiculous. The new skills, yeah, I mean, as I said before, like usually when they release new skills, I see the skill and I'm like, all right, that's it. That's my league start. You know, like when it was like Forbidden Rite or like other skills that we had, right? I'm like, I see this skill visually for this one clip, and I'm like, that looks sick. I want to play this, right? Sadly, I have to say this time around, like all the skills are just shock based and thingies. So it seems like this one lightning skill, that the Herald of Thunder thingy, right? It seems like it doesn't do anything. You activate it and everything that is shocked gets hit by a lightning bolt, for example, right? So I would assume that you would play something that causes shocks, like Arc or anything, and then you can probably mix it up with this energy thingy as well, right? Where you have like this flickering thing. So you would play an Arc, infect massive amounts of shock, probably even like with Mind Over Matter and stuff, because I remember there is something, let me see, there is like a lightning mastery where you actually have like, what is it? Increase in reductions to maximum mana also applies to shock effect at 30% of their value. So like Mind Over Matter, Archmage, pure shock based. This could be something actually. I need to POB a little bit, but that actually sounds like a cool build, right? And then you have in this like the spark thingy, and once everything is shocked, you know, with like a mega Val Arc or something. I don't know if Val Arc can actually shock, but doesn't matter. And then yeah, well, that means that monsters actually have to survive your arc, which makes the build terrible in that case, right? Because you want to shoot an arc and then stuff is just gonna delete it, right? But if so, then you apply the shock and then you press your magic button and then like fucking Thor shoots out of somewhere, right? And just annihilates everything. But it sounds like a 2-button / 3-buttons character, and I don't think that this is what people want actually, right? I think like the only like really good multiple button skills would be like Blade Fall, or Blade Blast, Blade Fall, Essence Drain, Contagion, and stuff like that. But other than that, people like to just press one button and see everything explode, right? So having like this build idea where you just like afflict shocks and then hit them, and I don't know, like I think it's something you just have to see and check for yourself. But I will just tell you guys what I decided for my league start, probably like half an hour before league start, like I do every single league, right? But Sadly, none of the new skills actually flashed me. Although this is one thing with like Ignite single target and the Poison higher single target. I think Poison's concoction might be actually ridiculously insane. Because it was already insane and now it's got a buff basically with this Alchemist mark or something. Trickster looks pretty tanky. So maybe like a Winter Orb Trickster kind of style because I really like Winter Orb. But the problem is like you need AoE. You need massive amounts of AoE. And if your Ascendancy class doesn't provide AoE, you kind of lose on Winter Orb. Because the more AoE, the more overlap, the more damage, right? And that's why everybody goes with Occultist because of the power charge stacking node. And my previous Winter Orb had like 400% AoE at some part. That was like beautiful. It was gorgeous, you know? Like everything fucking explodes 2 screens far. I don't see that Trickster will have that. And if it doesn't have that, then Winter Orb is just not the right choice there, right? But yeah, we're gonna see. It looks actually like really, really cool. The fact I definitely gonna check now which were the unique specifics of Ultimatum League. Maybe there is some item that I forgot about that is now getting reintroduced basically. And overall, it looks actually pretty fantastic, and I'm looking forward to it. Actually looking forward to it, man. That's gonna be pretty sick.